Hey everybody, this is Sean Briscom. I wanted to talk to you real briefly about private foundations versus public charities and the difference between the two. Private foundations operate completely different than public charities. Public charities are required by law per the IRS tax code, per the Internal Revenue Code that is enforced and mandated through Congress and enforced by the IRS. Public charities are responsible or are required to give away 100% of their donations and gifts and grants after all administrative costs, okay? Private foundations are different. And here's an example of a 990-PF form. All 501c3 tax-exempt organizations file a 990 form, but private foundations file a 990-PF form. PF stands for private foundation. And so these are essentially trusts treated as foundations, private foundations. What does that mean? That just means that you as a trustee can actually sit as the trustee of the foundation, and you have complete control over all of the assets of that trust. As trustee, you control the purse strings, all right? And so here's an example of what the 990-PF form looks like. It's very, very simple. You have to report every single calendar year or every single year of the foundation. You have to record all gifts, grants, and money coming in. You also have to record any interest from securities or investments that you make, any rental income or losses, any gains or losses from the sale of assets. Okay, any capital gains that you've realized from income, net income, capital gains, short-term capital gains, all of that stuff, all of the revenue of the foundation, of the private foundation, has to go on this form. All right, then you have to file the operating and administrative expenses. Those can be compensation to officers, directors, or trustees, other employees' salaries and wages. That can be pension plans, employee benefits, legal fees, accounting fees, all of the professional fees, all of that stuff, depreciation, occupancy, travel, conference, and meetings. That's right. Instead of going on family vacations, if you have a private family foundation, the foundation is responsible for paying for a family retreat. And so you can travel the world, go anywhere you want, and all those expenses come out of the revenue that comes into the private family foundation. Okay? Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, recently on the Ellen DeGeneres show, I wanted to share this with you. Ellen DeGeneres shared with the world what she called the ultimate birthday gift that was given to her by her wife, Portia. Okay, and so I wanted to, she had Ashton Kutcher come on the program. It was a surprise for her. But Ellen set up the Ellen DeGeneres Wildlife Fund. And she talks about it in terms of saving the gorillas. But I want you to hear what happened recently on her show.
So we do this thing called Sound Ventures. We invest in tech companies. And so we found this very interesting tech company called Ripple that we're going to invest in, right? And it runs on this stuff called XRP, which is a cryptocurrency, but basically it's just a way to get value from here to there. The people who run it, this guy Chris Larson and a guy named Brad Garlinghouse, and they run it, and they're talking about the ethic of this company and this platform, and how they actually really care about being an ethical company and giving a portion of this platform away to people that are doing good in the world. And you explained to me that if you weren't doing this, that what you would be working on is that project, right?
Yeah, I would be saving the gorillas, yes.
You would be saving the gorillas. And so we talked to Chris and Brad, and we said, there's this amazing human being. And all they ever do is think about other people they can give to. Whether it's in New Orleans, whether it's in Montecito, whether it's the people that come here, the people out there, you're always thinking about everyone else. And we wanted to show you that people are thinking about you. So, on behalf of Ripple, we'd like to give you $4 million. Now, usually people come out with the big giant check and do the big giant check thing, but we can actually transfer it into Rwandan francs right now, right here, and all we have to do is push this button and it's in your account. Do you want to push it? You want me to push it?
I would like to push it. I'd like to push it real good.
Bingo.
All right.
Okay, so, all right, so why is that significant? Well, I want to show you this. There's a couple of cool websites out there. One of them is this website called Charity Navigator. Charity Navigator is just an aggregator of information. They pull in all this information from the IRS on various charities, my own charity included. You'll find Kind Foundation here. And so I've pulled together a bunch of these different foundations just to kind of take a look at their tax returns and see what kind of tax return are they filing. Are they a public charity where they have to give away all the money minus their administrative costs? Or is it a private family foundation? And private foundations, remember, they operate differently. In a private family foundation, it's a trust, and you sit as trustee of the foundation. Now, this isn't a bad thing at all. This is actually a good thing, because what it allows you to do is to buy and sell assets and grow the wealth of the foundation. All right? You're not required to give away all of the money. You're only required to give away 5% a year in the form of grants, gifts, and donations, or a combination of expenses of the trust or of the foundation and grants. So the 5% can be an either or thing. It can be either grants and gifts and donations or expenses to the foundation. Okay? And so some of those assets can be savings or cash. All right? It can be receivables. It can be receivables due from trustees and directors and other people that are disqualified, that aren't associated with the foundation necessarily, that aren't benefiting from the foundation. It can be from investments. It can be from corporate stock. It can be from bonds. It can be from land and buildings and equipment that you own. It can be from mortgage loans. You can actually loan out this money in the form of mortgage loans from the foundation and get a return on that money, an interest rate on that money, and that's an asset of the foundation. Okay, it can be land, buildings, and equipment, you can also have liabilities. You can actually take out a loan, right, from other directors or trustees or other disqualified people. You can take out a loan for mortgages and other notes. So if you own property and you have a mortgage associated with the property, if it's owned by the foundation, if you grant or gift that property to the foundation, now it's tax exempt. Think about this. If you're in real estate today and you have your own private foundation, if you're investing in real estate and you gift or grant the real estate to the foundation, okay, in the form of an investment, land, buildings, or equipment, or even if you have a mortgage associated with it, if you grant that asset to the foundation, no more property tax on the asset, no more capital gains tax on the asset, no more rental income tax on the asset. It's all tax exempt because it is a 501c3 tax exempt organization. All right? Now, why am I saying all this? Well, I want you to go out and kind of look at this stuff. There are a couple of different websites I want to point you to. Number one is this website called Foundation Source. This is an awesome resource for people to learn about what you can and cannot do with a foundation. In fact, there's a great PDF that you can download right here called 10 Things That You Didn't Know That You Could Do with Your Foundation. All right? Things like grant money to individuals. Private foundations are permitted to provide funds directly to individuals for emergency relief or hardship assistance. You can give direct charitable to charitable activities. Okay, you can have your own charitable programs, or you can give to other charitable programs. You can pay expenses for due diligence on any investments. The IRS considers due diligence related to the foundation's mission and purpose a legitimate expense. You can give grants. Okay, you can make program-related investments where they're like loans or loan guarantees or equity investments made by the foundation. And again, remember, all of these investments are completely tax exempt because they are nonprofit. It is a 501c3. okay? You can give away awards and prizes, like the X Prize is a good example of that. You can create non-traditional scholarships. You can appoint agents and pay people as employees of your foundation. So I encourage you to go check out Foundation Source and see what's available for you if you wanted to start your own private foundation. The other website I wanted to point you to is Charity Navigator. Charity Navigator is just simply pulls in all the information from the IRS about these different foundations and charities. And so you can look at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, all right? This is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Trust, all right? This is where the majority of their wealth and money sits. And it is, you can see right here, it is a 501c3. Its activities are gifts, grants, and loans to other organizations. It is a private non-operating foundation. Private non-operating foundation, meaning it's not a public charity, all right? And look at here. It is required to file a 990 PF form, all right? 990 PF form. This is the actual 990 PF form for our family's foundation called Kind Foundation. And you can see here, it's a 990 PF. It's for the year 2017, and it is a trust, a return of private foundation, or a trust treated as private foundation, okay? Now, when you go to this website, whenever you see required to file 990 PF, that's what we're talking about. So Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is a private foundation, responsible for managing and growing the wealth and the assets of the foundation. Why? Yeah, so ultimately they can give back more in a more meaningful way. But they're not required to give away all the money. That's not the point here. That's not what the goal is with these private foundations. It's actually to grow the wealth over time so you can give back more in a more meaningful way. Here's the Ellen DeGeneres Wildlife Fund. I wanted to show you this real quickly just to give you perspective on what you can do. And you can see that it's set up in Encino, California, the Ellen DeGeneres Wildlife Fund. Here's her EIN number, okay? It is a 501c3 tax-exempt organization, right? 501c3 is in the code, and it is a private, non-operating foundation. It is required to file Form 990 PF. So, again, when you look at this donation by Ashton Kutcher, I want you to ask yourself, what do you think they're doing with that money? When the foundation receives that money, and they're responsible for managing those assets, they take in the revenue via contributions, gifts, and grants of $4 million, and there are some administrative costs, right? But in reality, the goal here is to buy and sell assets. What do you think they're going to turn around and invest that money in? That's right. Most likely, they're going to turn right around and invest that money back into Ripple stock, which now is all tax exempt. So when the Ripple IPO comes out, or when the stock skyrockets in value, they can sell it at a profit and not pay tax on that money. And yes, what that allows them to do is to give back more in a more meaningful way. That's what we do with Kind Foundation. We support foster kids and foster families by making gifts and grants and donations to other organizations who support foster care and foster families. So, do yourself a favor, go to these websites and just check them out for yourself. See what's available and see what you can do with your own private family foundation. If you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or an investor, this is the greatest thing that you can do. In fact, there's a quote that I found a while ago that said, for the last 100 years, the mark of a successful business owner has been to start his own private foundation. For the last 100 years, the mark of a successful business owner or entrepreneur has been to start his own private foundation. Okay? I want you to think about that. All right, so that's all I got for you today. Check out these resources. Download the PDFs if you want to, so you can read all about it. There are all kinds of really, really good information on what you can do, what you can't do with your foundation, different rules and regulations, pitfalls that people fall into, reporting errors that people make, mistakes that people make, how to avoid them, all that good stuff. All right, be kind to one another.